Martin, just a quick question back for you is that, so you guys recently launched an actual like PSP essentially, right? From like a credit card perspective, acquiring, so there's the prepaid cards, et cetera. So you're competing with Network International now, obviously, right? So what's the competitive point? Like why would, if someone is, if both are operating in the same market, why the Cashew Gateway? Network International is obviously much bigger and more established. So, you know, what's the appeal to work with you guys instead of them perhaps?
Well, we're not offering the same. I mean, we are offering what is called a PSP platform, which means that we accept a multiple number of payment methods on our platform, and we give the option to the merchant to actually select which payment method he wants. So yes, what Network is doing is mainly focusing on the Visa and the MasterCard acceptance, which, as we said before, is very important to have. But what we do in Cashew is we accept a number of other payment methods, and that's really the big difference. And also on the credit card side, we have integrated fraud tools, we've integrated the tokenization, we have a structure which allows on the reporting side. I mean, there are many features that are additional to a normal gateway that we provide.
Just in case anybody wonders, so what's tokenization? Tokenization is basically where you're coming to a website and instead of like, you know, instead of like clicking to buy and you leave and go to the payment gateway page and then come back to the website once you completed that transaction, it allows the website to essentially take your card details on the site through the payment services provider, and then your card is essentially tokenized and encrypted and processed through that provider. So if you think about when you go to Amazon or iTunes or whatever and you pay like within the page, that's essentially like a function of tokenization where you're not leaving and going to another payment gateway, just for terms. So another topic, which was a big topic yesterday and is a big topic around the region, a big topic for e-commerce, is the lovely experience around COD, right, and as a payment method, right? And so, you know, on one hand, you know, people will say that you absolutely have to do it, it's necessary. I mean, there's an argument which says the only one making any money out of COD is probably Aramex right now, more than a lot of the e-commerce websites, but it's a very inefficient process. But just if we can talk about COD for a little bit. And so, Ronaldo, I'd like to start with you and we'll engage everybody with this, is that really simple question. Like if I'm starting an e-commerce business right now, and whether I'm starting it literally in any country around the region right now, is it vital that I use COD as the only payment method, if not one of the payment methods that I have? Like how critical is that to really getting any kind of scale and traction?
I mean, Martin just highlighted that about 50% of the transactions today are paid online through cash on delivery. So the payment's not happening online, the ordering is happening online. So in some markets such as the UAE, maybe that percentage is a bit even higher. We've seen that customers, when they trust the brands that you have, are paying, a bigger percentage of them are paying with credit cards. So essentially, to build your brand, you need to convey trust. And one of the trust factors is people are not accustomed to pay online with the site they're not very familiar with. So a site like Souk, we have the luxury, we've been around for a while. We have quite a bit of large customer base, so a bigger chunk of users do pay credit cards in certain markets. You have other markets, simply credit card penetration is low. One of them is Egypt, so it's imperative that you have to provide the cash on delivery service. Cash on delivery is very difficult to manage because you have to make sure that you're shipping the goods basically without payment. And most e-commerce site abroad, you pay first and then the item is fulfilled for you. So that's a challenge from you from an operation point of view, but something that you have to deal with. We don't believe in Souk to put a big barrier in front of COD payments. If it's a customer choice, you have to make the customers comfortable. So if the customer is comfortable paying cash on delivery, you should allow them to pay cash on delivery. At least that's my take on it. There are many sites who try to curb cash on delivery, and some have been fairly successful by making cash on delivery deliveries a lot more expensive. This definitely sway customers, but you have to also think that by swaying customers, you might be losing some of them. So your conversion rates on the platform could be lower if you don't have cash on delivery. But I think it's really, in the region, it's really a factor of trust. If customers believe in your service, if you're promising a service and you're delivering on it, and this is from the minute the order is placed till the item arrives and payment is processed, and even the reverse, which is return, By the way, if you think about it, reversing an e-payment is a lot easier than reversing cash on delivery. So we have also work to do in terms of educating the customers why paying online could be even better for them. Imagine you buy something and you want to return it. Cash on delivery becomes a bit complicated. How do we pay you back? So maybe leave you credit on the platform, you can reuse it. But on a credit card transaction, we're actually able to just refund you the money. So we have also, as we build our trust in the region, as well as we should be able to convey why online payments actually are safer for you, because you have a much better recourse in terms of refund if things don't go well.
So Martin, question for you there is that, you know, you guys recently launched this cash product, right? There's an argument which says it's kind of like, I don't know, launching a better horse-drawn carriage after the car's already been invented a little bit. But you know, I'd like to think it's a payment process of yesterday, but unfortunately it's a payment process today and probably tomorrow as well. But so I have this kind of like analogy I like to use where it's really difficult, I think, to migrate someone from cash to credit card. It's almost like saying, just because I climb indoors at an indoor climbing gym, I'll go climb outdoors on a mountain or whatever. It's two different things, right? But what do you think about in terms of cash, and also trying to, because you have multiple payment methods, do you guys feel like you'll be able to potentially migrate that customer up into lower touch payment channels that way? But
well, we're actually going the other way. We realize the need for, what should I say, cash payment solutions. And what we try to do is to build a, what should I say, a base of products that caters for this, that is convenient for the consumer, but also good for the merchant. Meaning, because cash transactions, yes, they're good, but the problem is on the reconciliation side. I mean, if you start accepting cash, you have directly accepting cash, you have a problem, because then you have cash management, which can be both from a security point of view, but also from, let's say, pure workload can be quite complicated. So we're providing the what should I say, the interface where cash payments can be managed through our payment partners, but from the merchant point of view, it's considered, he can see it as any other electronic payment solution. So he will see it as, he will be able to reconcile it just as he reconciles a credit card or a e-wallet transaction.
Just on the matter of cash, I think, well, cash is an issue because cash costs a lot, basically, and it's not scalable. And that's why we want to erase cash and have some electronic transaction. But the reality is that cash on delivery and cash payment is not a typical thing of the region. I mean, Brazil, for example, which is very high, very powerful and fast-growing economy, may have the same kind of issues, and we issue payments there with different payment methods, which is linked with cash, and it calls boletos. Even in Europe, countries like Portugal are using a lot cash payments, even for e-commerce. And basically, if you look around the planet, you may have 6 billion people ready to do some e-commerce if they have access to a computer in an internet cafe or whatever, but ready to pay with cash. And 90% of the e-commerce can be done with cash today. So it's not convenient, it's not ideal, but I think that we have to accept that for the moment, this is the vast majority of transactions that concerning a vast majority of people across the world that can be done with cash. So it costs a lot, but that's probably the only way to develop a business online, and the first step to get people used to use less cash and more electronic money. But it's going to take time, and cash on delivery and cash is not an issue now. The issue is what offering can we have online to convince people to get away with cash and to move to electronic money.
No, what we also see, just to give you some high-level trends of what we're seeing is, and trust is such a key component to transacting in online in any way, shape or form. And one of the key drivers for across the region is actually the recent addition of government e-portals. And as consumers actually become more aware of the convenience of being able to pay, there are utility bills online, and telcos are now stepping into online payments. People are actually starting to realize that every time I use my card online, it's not going to be taken away from me. There's not going to be fraudulent transactions. That then stems into the next sort of stage or evolution is into airline payments, airline tickets, travel tickets, and then from there, the natural progression is to step into the online retail space, which I think is, or online retail, or actually whatever digital goods you might be looking to ship out as well. So there's definitely we're seeing a transition away from the normal cash payment, and the trust needs to be driven by secure payment systems in the back end, and of course advertising those systems. So if you're actually going through the process of integrating with a cashew or a network or providing a robust gateway system, you need to advertise that to your consumers so that they have the confidence to complete that transaction on your website.
I just wanted to add just an additional point, which I think has been covered already, but I mean, I think the detail here is that structurally, if you look within the region, I mean, cash is still a dominant source of funding, cash and checks, especially in Dubai, the UAE. So it also talks to a structural challenge within the economy in terms of providing, enabling, and supporting alternative payments, for example, card, debit card, prepaid, etc., mobile wallets, to enable e-commerce transactions. So the one thing is pull away from cash, but also we need to be pushing alternative payments into the marketplace to start that migration. And if you look in the Gulf, there's a huge opportunity in terms of, one, in terms of what the projections are for e-commerce payments, but I think we're fooling ourselves if we're saying that that's going to happen without the introduction of alternative payment methods like credit card, debit card, prepaid, and that banks, organizations like ourselves need to be educating, informing, and pushing products like that into the market.